So this will be part 2 of my assessment of the horse. I've slowed the video so that I have a little bit of time to share some of my thoughts. If you haven't watched the initial video, go back and watch that one and then come watch this one. As I'm approaching, there is an awareness of me. She stops eating. If you watch her ears and her posturing, she is mentally thinking forward and backwards as far as options if there is too much human pressure. When there is curiosity in the horse, there's a softness in their looking. When there is tension or anticipation, it shows a defensiveness. So as I walk closer, she goes back to eating. The default to go to food is a mental avoidance in anticipation of what will be asked of the horse, meaning they aren't fleeing, but they are not okay with the pressure. So as I'm walking closer, it is increasing the pressure. She also has her head slightly turned to the left, so if I cause too much pressure, it tells me she would already turn and go left. As she checks in, as I come closer, if you notice, there's a tension in her chewing. In the slow motion, it's a little bit easier to see, but this is not soft eating of feed. This is another example of a horse using her head to block me. So as I cross the spatial boundary she's not okay with, she keeps her head between me and her body. Physically, one of the first things that jumps out is the hind end and how she's standing. Even though she's eating, this odd posture with the left hind forward and right hind farther out, so it's not in line with her hindquarters, shows me that there is a brace and a compensation. Obviously, many of you noticed on her back that there are issues going on, but the compensation will happen in the feet for whatever's going on in the spine, which is a great example in this horse. I often talk about ill saddle fit and the consequences, but most people cannot see the physiological damage. I'll be sharing a link for the person who ever rode a horse would go and visit, so take a minute, write it down, and it shows in depth multiple horses by a saddle tree maker who takes pictures of what damage along the horse's spine does with the atrophying of the muscles, which is what you see in this mare's back, that flat portion that's highlighted by the sun. When there are pain issues, it's not limited to one location, such as the spine. There's a trickle-down effect. So I would put money that this mare has issues with her SI, her sacrum, and also her hips, her stifle, her hocks, and then her feet are compensating for what she's feeling or limitation or pain in her spine, which is why she's standing in this awkward posture. This is also information that tells me this is a horse that is defensive about going forward because she's carrying tension in her spine the entire time and imbalanced. Her barrel is quite tight in front of her stifle, which makes me also think gut and diet issues. In the original video, this is where I am clucking towards the horse and there is, quote, no response, which is a response. So horses respond to vocal pressure. They can acknowledge it. If you notice, her ears aren't moving. She's keeping her head longer in the feed tub, and there isn't any change in her body, which tells me, again, the containment she's learned to have when humans come near, which is anticipation. Go to the other side, assess if there's differences in her body, which there is. There's major compensation in her left shoulder for the atrophy, and then do a hands-on assessment.